All right. Well, we are live. Happy Thursday, everyone. My goodness, can you guys believe that the fourth month of a brand new year? Because, yes, it still absolutely feels brand new to me, is almost over. For those of you guys that don't know me, I am Torin Darling Brazel, the executive director and founder of Ignite Alabama. Ignite is simply a bridge. We exist to bridge the gaps in communication to make sure that our minority business owners, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit leaders stay informed and take advantage all of the opportunities that are available to us. And so all month long, we have been doing this master class with Miss Demetris Curry, and she has just been helping us get our whole lives together. And so today she has a very special guest with us. His name is Mr. Denzel Rodriguez. And for those of y'all that have been saying, I need help with my finances, I need help with my credit, all of those things. Guess what? Denzel is in the house. And so I am excited. I know y'all are probably thinking, like, where is Miss Torrance energy today? So, what I'm going to do is I have to share because I'm going to dedicate today's episode to someone that has been extremely special to me for the last 25, almost 26 years of my life, and that is Miss Fannie Mae Brazel, my husband's 95-year-old grandmother that passed away this past Saturday. She was just an amazing, beautiful soul. So I actually want to dedicate today's workshop and everything that we do to her because I am who I am because a lot of people have been holding me up. And Miss Fanny, or Charlie May, as her husband would call her, is definitely one of those people. And so it'll be, y'all are my family, y'all are my tribe. And so I have to, let you know the good, but I got to let you know when it's not so good. And this is just not a so good day for us. But I do trust God's sovereignty. And I'm grateful and I celebrate the time that we had with her. But I did have to let y'all know that I'm having like a whole moment over here, but we're going to push through. And I'm going to turn it over to Miss Demetris. And she's going to catch you guys up on everything, just give them the clip notes, Demetris, on everything that you shared all month long, so that if they did not watch it, they can go back and they can catch the replay. But today, I want to make sure that you go ahead and you start liking, you start sharing, you start inviting other people over to make sure that we get an opportunity to hear everything that both Demetris and Denzel have prepared for us today. So without further ado, Demetris, the mic is absolutely yours.
Oh, Torrin, thank you so much for that introduction and wonderful words of encouragement to the family, to the Brazel family. I'm so sorry to hear of your loss, but I know that she is proud of everything that you're doing and everything that your family has been doing to help bridge the gap in the community. So my heart is with you today. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. This has been an amazing month in learning more and more about finances and about insurance. And so we have had the opportunity to work with Ignite all month long, as Ms. Tori was just speaking of. And one thing that I love to emphasize to people that have never had the opportunity to sit in on maybe a training or a business training or seminar is to just take notes. Just take your time, take notes. You're not going to learn everything overnight, but you're definitely at the right place at the right time. And today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Denzel, and I'm so excited to talk to you about what he's bringing to the table as well. But we're going to cover some of the basics real quick. Let's talk about what we have learned thus far here in this particular month of training, okay? We started off with the basics. We started off talking about term versus permanent life insurance coverage. And what does that mean in your home? What does that mean in your business? How you can actually maximize the benefits of both, disadvantages of both. All of those things we explored together in week 1, okay? In week 2, we talked about key man insurance in your business. Wow, was that not a week? Because key man insurance, we talked about how you can use that particular type of policy in your business to make sure you secure the future and the longevity of that particular company and organization, passing it down to the next generation, and to also being able to bring in new people if you lose the people that was already there, those people that are irreplaceable in your business, them being lost, or maybe they've moved on in some form or fashion, using those key person policies to help bridge the gap of that transition. And then we also talked about securing collateral-based commercial loans. Woo, that was a big week for us, right? In that week, we talked about how you can use life insurance coverage as part of your collateral in obtaining a commercial loan, okay, with a financial institution or possibly a banking institution, your lending corporation that is backing your commercial loan, whether it be for property or possibly real estate. Essentially, if you needed equipment, things of that nature, those particular type of loans sometimes require an additional collateral like a life insurance policy on the person that is getting the application, okay, that's getting that particular loan. So we talked about that, the do's, the don'ts, what you need to get started and what you need to have the day that you walk into that financial institution. And then last week, we went in on how you can use insurance for your staff. And doing the in staff, we looked at employee benefits and how it also benefits the employer. Okay, so that was really big. We have a lot of questions on that. We had a lot of emails, a lot of messages that came in from employers that want to offer benefits to their staff. However, their concern was, the cost of offering major medical, things of that nature. What can we do to give them some type of short-term disability? How can we also make sure they have a life coverage, possibly a cancer coverage or a hospital plan? We went over those things and how to sign up for those and having that basic 3-person minimum to get that type of account started. So if you missed that, please make sure you go back to that video and find out more details and how you can help in your business. But today we are ending this particular month-long workshop with the most influential topic of all time. And a lot of people ask about this particular topic and want to understand it. It's the infinite banking concept and how you can literally become your own bank, right? Become your own bank by using insurance products to do so. And so we're going to jump right on in. We're going to talk about what is the concept, what does it really mean, okay? But let's start off with the basics. Let's start off with the basics. Mr. Nash, Mr. R. Nash, usually came in years ago with this concept. When he started talking about what he wanted to do in insurance, how he can be involved, how he can change his family's future about not having to use financial institutions for banking. He came up with a concept using the whole life insurance products, distributing of dividends, okay? And then also how to borrow against those cash flows. So much so that he became the founder of the infinite banking concept, right? And then in doing so, he also brought in so much information that he created a university to teach other agents how to do it. So that's where it all began, right there with Mr. Nash, okay? What does the infinite banking do for you? So creating your own banking system, dividend paying permanent life insurance, using available savings and cash flow to build your own bank. Okay, now let's stop for a second here and let's just talk about this for a minute. And when we bring on Denzel, this is one of the things that we'll talk about in more detail, is this is really a different dimension of thinking and how to bring on income, how to also pay debts, monthly debts, using your cash flows. Okay, very important that we talk about that today because it is a thing. And if people are using it, and we are using it today to be able to create financial structure like never before. Okay, so how to use the infinite banking concept to finance your automobiles, purchasing of your homes, things of that nature. How to expand a system, okay, in your banking portfolio. All of that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to move into it just a little bit more in detail in just a moment. So we talked about how it actually came about. We talked about where it came from, what type of insurance you use it for. Whole life insurance is usually the policy that is used for this type of structure, okay? And then we also want to talk about the advantages of the infinite banking concept. Most outstanding positive in the infinite banking is what? Improvement of liquidity, cash flows, right? Cash flows. So I'm excited to even talk even more about this with our friend Denzel, who is going to be coming on with us in just a moment. I want to bring him forth, and we're going to talk about the liquidity of infinite banking concept, how to actually use that cash flows off of your accounts, off of your policies to pay bills with, to actually make it happen for you. Denzel, I know that you are there in the background, but let me give a brief introduction of you because I can't do it the way you do it. I just can't do it. A 25-year-old entrepreneur raised by a single mother in New York. We call him the finance geek. Yes, we do. Currently helping over 1,000 families across the United States and abroad, a master in finances with over 2.6 million views on his YouTube and 36,000 subscribers. You know, Denzel, you are a master in making sure that people that you work with are not only doing what they need to do in cash flows, but learning to do it in a God's kingdom fashion. And I'm just excited about it. So let me bring you on. Are you there, Denzel? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Oh, goodness. I'm so excited to have you. And when you and I talked the other day, I was like, I don't know if he's going to be available, but I'm going to ask him anyway. And I'm just so glad that you said, hey, let's do it. Let's do it. So I'm excited to have you with us today. And I've seen so much of what you've done, you know, in the industry, on TV and radio, and then also, you know, with other speaking engagements that I've seen you on. So your teaching is just amazing. And so I said, hey, I love showing what's going on and sharing the floor. So I want to bring you on and let's talk about some of this concept. But first, before we do that, Denzel, tell us, how did you first get involved with the infinite banking concept and what made you decide to master it?
Well, for me, I'll just get right to the root of it all. So, as Demetris said, I'm currently 25 years old, but I'd say my journey originally started right after I graduated high school. I found an individual by the name of Miles Monroe, and from his teachings, I was able to rediscover the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God here on earth, and what that truly means, and how I can ethically, effectively operate and have heaven on earth to live a life worth living, right? So that's where my journey started for me. I'm currently, 25 now, but 18 at the time. I'm getting exposed to a lot of new information, right? On the faith side, on the financial side, on the physical side, the mental side, right? It's all clashing. And when I surrendered what I thought I knew about money, what I thought I knew about wealth, what I thought I knew about riches and success, and completely surrendered to something that was almighty, all knowing, all powerful, right? And said, okay, I'm going to do it your way. Okay. I'm going to just simply operate in the manner that you desire. I'm going to surrender my will for your will, and let's see how it goes. So I was almost like challenging this process, this God, because I was like, the past 18 years living on planet Earth hadn't been going so well for me overall. I grew up in a single uh, income household for the majority of my early childhood years. And then, I had a stepdad that played a fatherly role in my life, but still with that living, a little bit above poor, below middle class, right in between that income class. We had enough to celebrate, a Christmas, a birthday, but it was paycheck to paycheck. Everybody was in debt all the time. So in reality, we're just keeping up with the Joneses. We don't actually know how to take that check, pay yourself first, invest, save for the future, multiply money. None of those conversations was occurring at the dinner table, right? And I myself, I'm a Puerto Rican and Colombian individual. And a fun fact for everyone listening is the average Puerto Rican household on the island of Puerto Rico today, 2020, 2021, I'm sorry, today. I think the stat, according to Google, was based on 2020 numbers, but the average income of a native Puerto Rican on the island of Puerto Rico makes a little over 21,000 a year, 22,000, right? The average income in the US to date, I believe, is around 60,000 a year, maybe 55. And then if you break it down into the demographics, right? If you go specific, like Puerto Ricans or Colombians or say African American or different minorities. This is a minority group for the most part. Everybody in here, I'm assuming, is part of a minority group. So when you actually go specific to your culture, that number actually drops, right? And then you begin to see, oh my goodness, wow, this is my heritage. This is where I come from. These are the conversations that we're having. Yet there is this Bible, or I call it the Royal Constitution of Heaven, right? That has these promises for us, for my people, yet we're not experiencing it. Yet there are others out there in the world that are experiencing it without the word, right? And then there are those that do experience it with the word. So it's very interesting. This was the dynamic that I've been kind of going through, right? Come when I was around 2021, I want to say this was 2017, 2018. I discovered the infinite banking concept, Nelson Nash, which was mentioned earlier in the slide, started reading his material, started reaching out, connecting with other highly influential people on YouTube that had big channels at the time. I did not have a YouTube channel at the time, did not have a business. I did have my insurance license, and I was just very, very intrigued that, whoa, here is a foundational strategy that literally can be applied almost anywhere in the world, I would assume. But I know for right now, in regards to infinite banking, it's only in the US, Canada, I think Australia, maybe the UK. A lot of the third world, second world countries, definitely not. They, different countries need to, obviously improve economically, but we're kind of all here well, you guys are in Alabama, I'm in South Florida. So focusing on the US, around, 2017, 2018, I'm spending time, I'm talking to these people and I'm saying, wow, this is the facts that I'm getting, that major banks, major corporations, um, big family names like Walt Disney, the Disney family, the Rockefeller family, these household names that have done billions and billions in revenue are applying this concept. Yet nobody in my Puerto Rican, Colombian culture is talking about it. So what's the disconnect, right? Where does knowledge meet truth? Where does wisdom meet action? Like where is the disconnect, right? And it wasn't until I surrendered what I thought I knew about money and said, I'm going to be a student. I'm going to rise above my circumstances. And despite all of the pain, suffering, tragic, horrific events, whatever obstacles and challenges you or I face, that there is a possibility that we can drastically change. And I want to be someone that can say, look, I did it. I'm only 25. I got a lot to learn, but I have even more to give. And that's the intention that I want to set for today.
That's amazing. I mean, powerful, powerful. You and I talked about this, and that was one of the things that sort of from 25 years of banking, right? You and I talked about that.
Yeah.
Of my background in banking and lending and things of that nature. When I learned the infinite banking concept and I learned the different organizations and companies, like you just said, Walt Disney and all, that use this concept to expand their businesses, I was just like, wow. I wasn't taught that in college, in finance and banking.
Mm-hmm.
When my finance degree and banking degree said nothing about that kind of thing, right? So I'm ecstatic. Just continue on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So with that, what I'd love to do is just dive right into the concept. Let's not focus on me. Let's focus on what you came for. You want to learn about infinite banking. I want to kind of share some of the things that I've learned, how I interpret this concept, and a template as to how you can operate as you begin to learn more. I'll say this right off the bat, because whether it's your household, I know I'm speaking for myself, but because nobody talked about it for my whole 25 years of living in my household, and then my parents, and then my parents' parents, since nobody discussed the conversation, it may take we a little bit longer to comprehend, and that's okay. I will tell you, I still do not know everything about the infinite banking concept. I've been practicing it for 3 years now. I studied it for about 6 months up to a year, right? And I discovered it like 2-3 months prior to actually committing to learning more. So you could say I've been on about a 4 or 5 year journey still learning. So it may take a long time, but it is so worth it, because you are the blueprint. And when you're the blueprint, it can be very daunting because there isn't a road that has been made for you yet. You're the one that's walking on the dirt, and you're digging and you're laying the foundation as you're going, right? So it may be a bit challenging. You may get some pushback, some conflict, right? But you have the power. I want to say that you've got the power. You can make the change. So with that being said, let's direct our attention to the board. The first thing to note is, before you look at any financial concept, there are 4 major numbers that all of us need to know on a monthly, daily, yearly basis, okay? And that is your monthly net take-home income after taxes. What is that number? For me, back in 2018, it was roughly $2,000 a month. What are your expenses? Every single thing that leaves your checking account is an expense. For me at the time in 2017, 2018, it was roughly $1,500. Okay, that's everything. That's car payments, insurance, that's food, groceries, going out, eating out, Uber Eats, the subscriptions, anything and everything that leaves your account, even your tithes, right? Even your givings, even your saving, investing, that is an expense that leaves your economy. You need to know it down to the T, right? Down to every quarter, nickel, dime, penny, every single one. So for me, it was 1,500. Work with me, right? At the time, in 2018, I hit a peak. I had about 30,000 in debt. That's the most amount of debt I've ever had, was like 30 grand at the time. And with that, we have cash flow. So when it comes to your debts, you log everything. Look at every single thing you owe to the institutions, the banks, the corporations that are having these invisible chains on you that hold you and maybe your culture behind. Okay. You have to understand how powerful this is, debt. It can be very detrimental to a nation, a culture of people. It can also be very beneficial to a nation, to a culture of people. You have to understand that. So you need to know what current position you're in. All right. So me giving you, being transparent here, showing you my numbers so that we can build a level of know, like, and trust as I go through the lesson today. So know your debt. The last number is cash flow, which is simply your income minus expenses equals cash flow. So 2,000 a month at the time, 1,500 my expenses, cash flow. This is money left over after I've tithed, after I've given, after I've saved, after I invested, after I spent all my bills, my living, my debt payments. This is free cash flow, $500 a month that doesn't go anywhere. Okay. Fast forward to 2021, because I surrendered what I thought I knew about money, because I, surrendered my will for someone else's will that's of a higher power, because I engaged, I studied, I got around individuals that were operating at high levels. I went from this to now 30 plus thousand a month income, spending roughly 10, sometimes as high as 15K a month. I'm debt free. I have no chains, and I'll cash flow anywhere from 20K, could be as low as 15 uh, a month, right? So this is a drastic difference, okay, for say someone like myself, 25 years old, Puerto Rican, coming from a family where the average income was between 30 and 50K a year collectively, right? To now making that in a month, right? You could say, oh, on the island of Puerto Rico, this kid is in the top 1 to 5% of the whole island. And I still don't know everything, right? So, what a position, what a blessing it is when we rediscover the kingdom and also combined worldly information that we as kingdom citizens can apply while we live on earth, preparing for our exit strategy and our return eventually. Okay. So, with that being said, the infinite banking concept, what I need you to understand is infinite banking concept is first an idea, right? We could say originally discovered by Nelson Nash, right? If you go as far back as possible, I would say he gets credit for coining the term infinite banking concept, become your own banker. But prior to Nelson Nash, guys like Walt Disney, the Rockefellers, uh, Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, they were already doing this stuff, but they weren't exactly preaching it. You could say this was the first, say, preacher. Nelson Nash was the first person to, convert really a lot of people to this idea. So first, it's an idea. The idea is to become the bank in your household, right? So my last name is Rodriguez. It does not end in Bank of America. My last name is not Chase. My last name is not Fargo. My last name is not JP Morgan. My last name is Rodriguez. So therefore, if my name is considered my reputation and also my culture and also my nation, then I, as an individual, should be able to finance and fund missionaries, businesses through the Rodriguez Foundation, not the Morgan, not the Fargo, not the Chase. Understand? Are you with me? Are you guys with me? I want to see some comments. We got 14 people in the house listening. I see Sharon. I see, let's see, Yolanda. I see, let's see, I can't say your name, the Tenelli, I think. Katrina, hello, hello. You guys go ahead, drop a comment. Let me know. Are you with me? Is this resonating? Are you focused? Natasha says, we are with you, bro. Sherry says, yes, I'm listening. Sharon, I totally understand. Okay, that's good to know. So I can keep it moving. So infinite banking is an idea. The idea is to become the bank. Why do we need to become the bank? Because we as a nation, we as a culture, we as minorities need to rotate dollars back into our economy, back into our kingdom, back into our system. So this guy, Nelson Nash, said, hey, this is available to even the individual making 30 grand a year, 20 grand a year. This can be implemented little by little, right? And with the help of education and giving value in the marketplace and getting paid at an exponential rate for your gifts, talents, right, and experiences, you can then rotate dollars back into your economy. So the idea is become the bank. The product, okay, so infinite banking is not a product, it's an idea, right, which then leads to a concept, right, which then leads to a ideology, which then leads to a theology, which then becomes your psychology, like your whole psychology of how you, your whole psyche of how you function, right? It becomes foundational. And then when you do that, guess what? You create a whole new culture. Your skin tone don't change, but the culture shifts and begins to incorporate things that advance and perpetuate good, righteous behavior. So very interesting stuff. So the product is called cash value life insurance. Okay. So the product is life insurance. And I'm pretty sure with the previous lessons, you guys are already familiar with this. There's a couple of different tools, right? So the product is called cash value life insurance. And then there's different types of tools, such as well, from what I saw on the slide, you had Keyman. So that's, more so for business owners. So I'll just put BO. Then you've got whole life insurance, right? Which is Nelson Nash was a big advocate for the individual to obtain a whole life product, which is a lot easier, right? You don't have to have a business to obtain this type of product. You could be a construction worker, a healthcare worker, military, police officer, you could be a firefighter, and you could obtain something as simple as a individual whole life product, right? So WL. Another product is called IUL, right? So these are tools that you'll do research on, and you'll look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and you'll come to a conclusion and make your decision, right, moving forward. So Keyman, typically for business owners, that's when the business gets pretty much either a whole life policy or an IUL on the CEO, the CFO, the executive of that company. It really benefits more the employer than the individual, but the individual gets, the golden cuffs, pension, healthcare, vacation, bonuses, so many different things. So there's a bonus, right, for that. But that key man, that individual should also have their own individual bank. This is the whole Nelson Nash theory, is you creating your own banking system, right? You have IUL. Then there is something called premium financing, which I don't know too much about. I don't have it myself. I personally have two policies. on myself at the moment as a 25-year-old, constantly learning, right? I've got one with Mass Mutual, one with Guardian. I'm paying in 15,000 a year into Mass and then 70,000 a year into Guardian. Total death benefit I have at 25 years old is $5 million, right? This is no joke, okay? This tool, 5 million, the end goal is to perpetuate wealth. The result is influence, power, glory, reputation, right? Ethics, morals, values, legacy. In other words, kingdom. That when I pass, here's some key info now. When I pass, the accumulation period, the money that I create while I'm living in this particular product, when I send money, right, from my checking account into this tool, the money grows tax-free forever. The money gets transferred tax-free to the next Rodriguez, not Wells Fargo, not Chase, not Morgan. Okay, very important. I want to do business with Mr. Morgan and Chase and Bank of America. Don't get me wrong. That's called collaboration, partnership, and making money. But I, as Rodriguez, need to come to the table. I can't have Wells Fargo have all the leverage on me. Oh no, that's not good. So transfer to the heirs in my household. It's tax-free income, potentially, while I'm living. Tax-free income that can be used while I'm living. It is a savings asset. Unlike saving money at the bank, which you do not own, there's a bigger incentive, which is what Nelson Nash was getting at. By you becoming your own bank, you fund it, you get a better reward. Your savings works stronger for you in the form of compound, tax-free, guaranteed interest. I hope you're taking notes. Last but not least, it's protection. It's one thing to make money. It's a whole nother ball game to protect it, right? Anyone can make money. Look at me, Puerto Rican. I don't know much. I didn't go to college. I don't have a degrees, right? I'm not licensed. I'm not a licensed financial advisor, right? I don't have the credibility yet. I've been blessed and anointed with wisdom, knowledge, action, motivation, desire to do these things. And so that's why I'm like in a position where I'm like, look, if I can do it, man, goodness, the lady that has a master's degree, the dad that has a PhD, the guy that went to military school, the guy that went to become a firefighter, the police officer. I mean, you guys can totally do this stuff, right? So it's a protection asset in the event you pass away at a time that, you know, we don't know when we're going to die, but there's a 100% chance that we will, but we don't know when. So by having this protection asset called death benefit, it can then help alleviate the pressure on the younger people in your family, right? Son or daughter, brother, sister, nephew, niece, aunt, uncle, right? Passing, rotating the dollars. We're simply mimicking what successful corporations, major banks, institutions, wealthy families do in their own household. And we as a minority, we're learning, right? The information was hidden from us for hundreds and hundreds of years. But now, due to internet, due to, cultures, coming together and uniting and collaborating and trying to fix our wrongs and trying to improve, we are now given this opportunity, and we do not want to take advantage. We don't want to be loose with this information. We need to be very, very serious with it, form our own blueprint, and move forward. So with that being said, this is how I operate, and would love to kind of see if people have got specific questions, or anything they want to, go over. I want to make sure I'm with everybody, that I'm not losing you in the process, that you are like, okay, this is something that I need to get started with,
And
Uh,
we're watching comments as they come in. We're getting some really awesome comments here, and really this is confirmation, Denzel, because it's been a building block over the last 4 weeks of learning the increment things about insurance, and that was just confirmation of what it all means: key person, whole life, cash flows, but then a visual of how to pull it all together,
yeah,
right? And being able to use that monies and become debt free off of your own cash flows. Fantastic information. Miss Sharon said, oh, I gotta go. I got to get this information off of Ignite. I'm coming. I want to see this someone again. We're gonna make sure that you get the information, Sharon. Okay. Um, I understand. Laser focus. Totally agree. I agree. Some more comments coming in.
cool,
Here's a
cool. So,
question. So does your current income come from cash value life insurance that you use to invest in other businesses, etc.?
I see. So no, right? So the product, so let's come back to the board. That's a great question. The product, cash value life insurance, doesn't make me a millionaire, a multiple six-figure earner, right? It's what protects the money that I create in the marketplace. So, I'm a financial consultant, I'm a content creator, I do affiliate marketing, referral marketing, network marketing, sales, I sell products and services. Um, Obviously, I sell life insurance, right? So I write life insurance policies. I consult with people's finances, helping them get out of debt, doing concepts like debt snowball, debt avalanche, velocity banking, and other, building credit, building business credit. So connecting people to resourceful information, helping people start businesses, create content, marketing, email marketing, follow up, right? That is what brings in money. And then I take a portion of what I make. So typically, most people can agree, whether religious, not religious, kingdom based, almost everyone I've ever spoken to agrees on the notion of giving at least 10%. It's kind of like a foundational, universal, like truth. No matter where you come from, there's something about 10% that's very um, compounding in terms of how you give and receive, right? So 10%. Then the other thing is most people agree on investing 10%, right? So we got giving, then we've got invest, and then there's saving, right? 10%. Now, I would say this is like the standard of standard. Obviously, you can tweak this and go higher, or you start low and work your way up. But this is usually the goal for most people to get to. You want to be able to give 10% because it's the right thing to do. Not only is it biblically true, but it's the right thing. I've spoken to Hindus, Muslims, non-believers, atheists, agnostic, business owners. They all agree at least 10%. I mean, tax purposes, it benefits you, especially if you have a business. You write that off to the nonprofit, to the church that you give 10% to. It's part of the system, right? So 10%, 10% investing, 10% saving. So technically that's called the 70-30 rule. You preserve 30, you live off the 70. The whole idea is paying yourself first, right? Pay me first. That's important. You need to pay you first. Okay. So no matter where I'm at, whether it's 2,000 a month, making 30,000 a month, 300,000 a month, 3 million, 300, 3 billion a month, whatever the number is, the rule stays the same. You give at least 10, you save 10, you invest 10. So in regards to this tool being a savings asset, I simply redirect where I was saving my 10%. I was originally putting it in a savings account that was earning me less than 1%, to then simply move it into a tool where I can earn not only a higher rate of return, but also the establishment of my kingdom even when I die. So now I'm thinking 100 years in advance, not just 100 years that I live, but what about 100 years after I die? How powerful will the Rodriguez name be, right? How influential will my ethics, morals, values, behaviors, attitudes will perpetuate? The money simply helps perpetuate the message, but it's the individual characteristics of me that when people talk about me, when people say my name, come back to reputation now, that's when they will say good things. Oh, Denzel did this, he did it like this, he did it like that, and da 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 da. Nelson Nash, by the way, if nobody knows, he passed away. So there's a dead man on the board here. We're still he is going to be spoken about for at least the next 500 years. At least. He has solidified a kingdom unlike any other in this particular space. Every single life insurance agent that gets exposed to this concept gets exposed to this name. You know how powerful that is?
Powerful.
That's insane. Everybody uses Nelson Nash as a template. Do you know what it's like to be a template? Oh my goodness. I'm starting to feel the side effects, and I'm only 25 because of just the positioning. That's all it's about. So to answer the question, I take 10% of my savings and a portion of my money that I'm going to invest, and I put it in life insurance, right? Temporarily, right? So 70, 85K. You can do the math on that. Last year, I did just under $500,000. In my case, I flipped it. I actually live off 30% of what I make, and I save, invest, and give 70%, and I spread it up, a third, a third, a third. So I give above the standard, I invest above the standard, I save above the standard. So the 85K comes from income. Then it goes into the policy. That money grows forever. I then borrow, and like the slide earlier, I I borrow money out of the policy, and I go rotate dollars. I recapture interest, whether it's paying off debt or accumulating good debt that pays me money, or I acquire a business, or in this case, I fund my own business. I rotate expenses, taxes, right? Nelson Nash has a book where he talks about literally running your tax bill through this, running your homeowner's insurance, running your mortgage payments through this, running your debt payments through this. It's pretty interesting stuff. So hopefully that answers this question there. Let's see.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. You just for a second, let me add something to that.
Yeah.
One of the things that we taught on, and we constantly do this with the Ignite family, and as one of their financial coaches, one of the things that we look at is how you are saving, because putting that money into a savings account that's paying you 0.0000% is not benefiting you, right? And so that 10% that you just noted there, exactly what we've been teaching on as far as how you put it into a policy account, get that return. And some of those average returns, I'm just looking at an IUL, you're talking about maybe 6, 7, some of them 8% average is what they're doing, but can go up to 13% or so. You're looking at a much higher return basis than putting it into a savings account where you can actually pull it out and borrow against it, loan against it later, tax-free dollars. That's just amazing. And I'm glad that you notated that, because that is one of the things that we definitely have been teaching on, and making sure that everyone understood that there are options out there that makes better financial sense.
Right. Right.
We
So
have a, go ahead.
I see another question. Are there key indicators that dictates which tool would be best to implement based on your cash flow and budget? So I just wrote a little rule that I do for myself, right? Is I look at my cash flow per year, right? Wherever you're at in your life currently today, you look at your free cash flow, not, you've got money you save, you got money you invest, and maybe you're investing in different things. That's wonderful. I want to target the free cash flow, what's left over, right? And then if you are saving money at the banks and you're not earning anything, you want to redirect that, I would take from that before I take from like investment money or real estate or your business or something like that. This is money that you don't plan on really using initially, right? You're trying to build a bank. It costs money to build a bank, by the way. Okay. So it's going to take some time. So I create a little rule for myself. I take my cash flow times 12. So if it's, say, I'm going to be conservative, let's say it's 15 grand a year for me personally, times that by 12, that's 180,000 a year, right? Is what I'll cash flow, right? And then I take that number and I times it by 66%, right? So I get 118,800. So I know that based on my free cash flow, after I've given, invested, and all that stuff, free cash flow, money that doesn't go anywhere, I know 66% of it could go into life insurance and it wouldn't hurt me. I could say lose a stream of income. I could lose my ability to speak. I can, God forbid, go paralyzed. I would be okay. Right. So this is money that I'm okay with not using. I'm not okay with losing it. That's what I'm not okay. This money cannot be lost. Number one rule, according to Warren Buffett, is don't lose money. This is a tool that helps me not lose money. It's protection, it's savings, tax-free growth. There's no argument here. These are one of the few products in the financial industry that provides actual guarantees.
Yes.
That's very powerful. You can't say that if you're a financial advisor offering mutual funds, 401k plans, IRAs. You can't say that. You can't say guarantee, right? There is no guarantee there will be dividends. There is no guarantee your money will be there when you're 59 and a half. There is no, right? So I take your cash flow times 12 for the year, times it by 66%. I can fund a life insurance policy with my eyes closed, just doing that amount. And notice how I don't even do that full amount. I'm doing 85. So I'm even kind of more conservative, but this is my limit, right? I'm in the process of getting a third policy because my income doubled from 2019 to 2020. So, before I make any hasty moves, I like to have consistency. It's one thing where you make a ton of money, but can you continue to make a ton of money? That's the key, right? So you have to have that consistency. I like to have a little track record before I, implement new investment strategies and things like that. So that's my formula. Cash flow times 12. If it's 500, that's 6,000 a year. Times that by 66%. That's how much I would put into my life insurance product. And then I'll build from there and then develop a strategy. Okay, how do I want to use these dollars? Do I want to pay off my car with it? Do I want to try and pay off these credit cards? Do I want to invest in Bitcoin? Do I want to invest in the market, Forex, real estate, wholesale, fix and flip? What is it? Start my own business. That's how I
Exactly. Exactly. And that's confirmation. That's truly confirmation. And what we've been building up to these last several weeks in this particular workshop. I'm ecstatic that you when you broke the information down and we were talking about the percentages and how to actually detect how much to put into a life insurance policy. Very important that we use that extra that's left over so that we don't put ourselves in a financial strain, So that's a really important point to make. Thank you for making that point. in the insurance, when we're working on this, I know we have just a few minutes left, and Torn will be coming in just a second, but we have just a few minutes left. So what I wanted to do is to make sure if anyone that is listening to us today that are having questions on how to do this, and I see that quite a few people here that's listening in right now are people that I've talked to either the past or either are already clients. So that's great to know that some of them are people that we've already talked to in the past or either part of the Ignite family. So that's fantastic. But one of the things that we want to do is make sure if they have additional questions that we connect all together with this in trainings that you currently have going on as well, Denzel. So what we're going to do is we have a link that Torin adds into this particular video, and where we can actually track people that's interested in things of that nature and make sure we redirect them to our guest speakers or to myself or whoever's needs to be talked to about what their needs are. We make sure we have that happen as well. This is just an amazing look at the information that this particular workshop has brought forth and making sure that everyone understands bit by bit of what insurance really does. And as a person that was in banking for so many years, I learned so much about this, Denzel, like you, outside of college. You know what I mean? So it's amazing to be able to have that. Look like we have some more questions here. What is the name of the book? Okay, so you already put that information there for them. Yeah, so Become Your Own Banker with Mr. Okay, we got that there, Nelson Nash. And so we are pulling this thing together, and we have more to cover in the future. Miss Tanya said, this was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us. You are so welcome. We are ecstatic that we could even pull this together for you. Denzel, do you want to add any additional comments while we wait for Ms. Torrin to join us?
Yes, one thing I will say, that if you truly want to learn how money really works, right? You want to go back to the source of things, right? You don't want to just talk to a resource. You want to go to the source. You and I are all American citizens living in the United States of America that are watching this. There is a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. The Creature from Jekyll Island, okay? I would check that out. It is a second look at the Federal Reserve, how they got started, right? Understanding that the Federal Reserve is not federal, right? It is a family-owned business. It is a private entity. It is not governmental whatsoever, although it has governmental powers over all of us. Yet, it is a private entity issuing currencies to the masses that are worth less. The money is worth less, right? It is not backed by anything other than the word of the United States of America. And lately, the word of the United States of America is not too hot in many different cultures here in the United States that are living here, that we're all living together. The word of the United States of America is not too hot, not doing too well, right? Our reputation is hurting, and we need to repair that. And the best way to repair a reputation, you got to go back to the source. Wait a minute, how did we operate? What was our initial intention coming into this business, coming into this land? What was our intention? How do we move forward? How do we fix our wrongs and move forward? So The Creature from Jekyll Island, a second look at the Federal Reserve, will dramatically shift what you think you know about money, and you'll be able to say, wow, okay, here are the invisible chains. Here were the physical chains, here are the invisible chains. Here's how I can break free from all that, live above, rise above, right? A system, become an asset to the system, not a liability. And now I'm doing business with the government. So that is the end goal, right? And is to perpetuate righteous works, good works, where everybody can win, right? Effectively, that everyone may win. It's not always true, but we set the environment where the possibility is there, but you got to want it. It can't just be given to you. You got to want it. You got to be willing to fight for it and protect it at all costs, right? So I leave you with that.
Wow. And that's the potential that we're talking about, positioning. I made a post earlier this week and I woke up with this word in my heart. It was just position. It's about positioning and learning how to position yourself. It's just where you actually have to start and where you begin, right? So fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Denzel. We have some other things coming up in the future we were talking about. So I'm excited about working with you again. We got some other stuff that's brewing, but it's just amazing that you get to spend time with us today. And thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us with this. Okay. So I look forward to additional collaborations. Thank you.
Awesome. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Miss Torn is listening in with us right now. She said she's going to chime in just a moment. But it's just amazing that we have this time together to work with these business owners, answer the questions that most people are either afraid to ask or either don't know to ask, right? Because it's just part of who we are in trying to build a business, trying to figure it out of what do we do first? How do we maximize every little dollar that we pull together, every little dollar that we pull together? How do we maximize it? And that's what we're talking about. That's what this entire segment was about, of how to actually change the mind, restructure the thought process of where to put monies away at and how to maximize that money for you. We've been teaching on it for weeks now. We've been talking about where to put your monies and how to figure out if it's a good investment for you. Denzel went really in depth on how to put money into insurance policies versus a banking institution savings that will not pay you anything, right? He talked about that. He talked about compound interest working in your favor. Yeah, I know compound interest is my favorite term. Hello. So we talked about that, right? And then we also ended things out with how to figure out how much money you can use out of your cash flows, did the percentages, gave you a formula of exactly how to use it to determine how much to put into that guaranteed life insurance policy with guaranteed return that you do not get in financial institution type products like your 401ks and things of that nature, IRAs. I'll go on and on. So Ms. Torn, I'm going to turn this over to you. We have had a fantastic day today, girl.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much, Denzel. You were awesome. Just absolutely awesome. I learned so much today. And Demetris, of course, thank you for everything. And to all of you, I want for you to make sure y'all know what we say. It's time for you to go and win on purpose. See y'all next month. Bye.
Bye. God bless. Thank you.